Hey, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, that's right, for a special edition of the best little wrestling podcast in the business, Shooting a Shiznit. I want to thank everyone for their kind comments and just the outpour of downloads for the Golden Boy Greg Anthony episode 29. If you haven't listened, and you probably have, but if you haven't, go listen to it now. Lots of people are giving us the big thumbs up, and it's a little bit serious, more serious than you usually hear from me. Just want to give a shout out there to Bob McGee, who helps out a lot. My buddy Sean at Wrestling to Max website, that's w2mnet.com. Also, just to let everyone know, we're going to have a special episode on July the 4th. It's going to be a bloopers episode. Follow us on Twitter and learn more about that. That's at comicbookmarkbt. And also next Thursday, we'll be back with my co-host there, Lance Levine, with the Cool Kids Countdown. Now remember, guys, we're going to go over the rules of who wants to be the best Shizniter ever. The rules will be right after I get done here. But you can also go to stspod.club. That's stspod.club. The rules are on a YouTube video there. Also, the card the board that they use for this episode is posted up there. We also have it posted up there on the Twitter site also. So you guys can kind of see what they're picking from and what they're doing. Remember, you can join the Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk Facebook group. Just do a big search of that and you'll find us there, and we'll let you in. It is a super secret group, but we always welcome new members. We're also on iTunes and Stitcher. And also a big shout out again to Suplex City Limits, Creative Control, and Locals to Legends Wrestling Radio. Now to the rules. Every 2 weeks, two contestants will face off in a battle of wits where the listeners will determine the winner. The show is only 30 minutes, with each contestant taking turns picking a subject from 9 subjects on a board. There will be 5 rounds with alternating turns determined by a coin toss at the beginning of the show. The winner of the coin toss gets to decide if he wants to go first or his opponent. Contestant 1 picks a subject, then the host will read the question. Each contestant then has 90 seconds to talk Shiznit until the buzzer goes off, and then the other contestant gets 90 seconds to talk on the same subject. There is 1 pass for the entire show. Whoever who uses it gets to pass the question for their opponent to talk first. How does a contestant win? The listeners will have 10 days to listen to the show and vote on the winner. At the end of the 5th round, each contestant gets to plead their case on why you should vote for them. Winner will return for the next episode as the best Shizniter champion. Sample of boards and video of rules are posted on stspod.club. If you're listening to this episode, you have until July 9th. That's right, July 9th at midnight to vote for who is the best Shizniter ever. You can vote on stspod.club, or there also will be a poll on Twitter. Welcome. That's right, this is the second episode of Who Wants to Be the Best Shizniter Ever? And we got 2 contestants, as we did last week, but that was 2 weeks ago, and we got somebody missing. So first, let's talk to the challenger this week. So who's the challenger? Go ahead, Gene, introduce yourself.
Well, I'm the king of all wrestling media, Gene Jackson. I'm from Coleman, Alabama, currently. That's not where I'm originally from. That's where I'm currently living. I've got a wife and 2 cats. I'm a former wrestler, former manager. I do something very unique, Brian. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to talk to anyone that does this, but I do a wrestling podcast on Sunday night.
Oh, wow, really?
I know you don't get the opportunity to meet a lot of wrestling podcasters these days, but yeah, so that's pretty exciting. Localstolegends.com. Check that out. We talk about wrestling, me and Neil the Real Deal Taylor. And other than working at managing a car lot, I like to spend my time watching old wrestling matches and talking Shiznit on the Facebooks with people.
So give us your give it a Twitter account or anything or Facebook. Go ahead and put your shit over so that people can actually talk to you or follow you.
Okay, my Facebook is facebook.com/King of All Wrestling Media, and my Twitter account is at Vince Hates Us All.
And how can they get to your podcast?
Localstolegends.com.
There you go. And we have this week's champion. That's right, returning. Matthew, welcome. Brian Thompson went down. How's it going, Matthew?
It's going pretty good, BT. Where's my belt, man? Where's my belt?
Oh, man, this has just been the second show. Now, if you go, on a big winning streak here, we may talk about that. But Matthew, why don't you go ahead and tell the fans and the listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Matthew Esri. I currently live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been a wrestling fan for about 30 years. My big passion with wrestling nowadays is Japanese wrestling. I just can't watch most American stuff. I watch a little bit of indie stuff. Some interesting facts about me is I'm a licensed suicide prevention counselor, which I think is pretty useful nowadays with the current WWE product, because God knows I want to kill myself when I fucking watch it. Let's see, what else? Like I said, I like my wrestling, like I like my drinks. I like it stiff and fast-paced. So I'm excited to get back and do this again. I'm ready to talk some shit.
Gene, do you like it stiff? No. So let me go over the subjects real quick. I just want everyone to know they can go to stspod.club, and we can look at the card that we have up. I give out the card. I gave it out. They have about 12 hours or so just to look at the categories. They don't actually see the questions. So the categories this time, we have 4 returning categories that were not picked last time. That's 3 matches, Japanese commentary, NWO, and 3 wrestlers. And we've added 5 new subjects because we have 5 rounds. Allocades, Great Balls of Fire, it ain't nothing but a hound dog, Fight or Fuck, and John, Paul, Ringo, and George. So we're going to flip the coin, and we're going to let the challenger choose heads or tails.
Tails.
Tails it was. Do you want to start with the first question, or do you want Matthew to start? You get to choose.
I will let Matthew start.
All right, Matthew, you got 9 subjects there. Which one are we going to go with for the first round?
Okay, well, let's drag this into the gutter right now and really early, because that sounds like fun. Let's go with Fight or Fuck.
For some reason, guys, I just knew that was going to be something you guys wanted to pick. So here we go. It's going to start as soon as I get through with the question. Fight or fuck the Rock, Dwayne Johnson?
Well, I'm pretty secure of my masculinity, but he's a damn pretty man. Either way, I think I'd end up getting bruised and battered. So I guess if I had to choose to keep my dignity, I guess I would fight the man. Because either way, he'd probably, manhandle me, pin me down, rough me up. I guess if I let him fuck me, he'd cuddle me afterwards. But still, I don't know, man. I think I'd rather be slapped around than get rid hard and put away wet. But either way, I'm leaving that whole thing black and blue and really regretting the whole thing. But maybe I can get his autograph when it's all said and done. But, So, I guess, what's the worst I got? I guess maybe he could think it was a wrestling match and fake fight me, and, all I have to do was sell the people's elbow when it was all said and done,
Still got about 30 seconds. Tell us what you do with The Rock now.
Well, let's see. If I was going to sell the elbow, I would. Let's see here. I would. I guess much like fucking him or fighting him, I'd make sure to sell as much as possible. Hoping he would he would spend his time taunting to the crowd instead of wailing on me, either fucking or fighting me. I would try to sell as much as possible so he would stop and pose and throw up his eyebrow and hopefully leave me alone for a few moments. Because he always liked to stand there and wait and kind of soak in the crowd reaction. Then maybe he would just leave me alone for a few minutes. Because again, fighting or fucking, it doesn't really sound pleasant either way. So it's hard to say what I would do, but I mean, I guess in the end, I'd want to keep my dignity and
All
say
right,
fight.
all right, Matthew, you're done there. That was, folks. We have changed the rules a little bit, and we are at 90 seconds now instead of the 2 minutes. But it's time for Gene. So, Gene, you'll have 90 seconds. Fight or fuck The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
Well, I mean, it's not that I'm not secure in my masculinity, but I'm definitely going to go fight. You know, I mean, The Rock, if you're going to have to fight a wrestler, I mean, he's, I guess, one of the better guys to fight. You know his main spots as long as you can take that stiff rock bottom. I mean, that's pretty rough. But, you know, the people's elbow, that's pretty easy. I could take the people's elbow. I could sell that. You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe we should revert back to no, definitely not. Let's fight him. So I don't know how tough he is in a real fight. You know, the guy played football. He's done everything. The guy's like a goddamn real life superhero. You know what I mean? I mean, you look on his fucking Instagram. I feel like a piece of shit every time I look on this guy's Instagram. He's doing everything but cure fucking cancer on a daily basis. But, you know, he's an actor now. He's a Hollywood star. Maybe in a real fight, he's really not that tough. You know, maybe I could take him, you know, kick him in the old Johnson, if you will, take him down, and maybe get him in a chokehold, something like we've seen Samoa Joe lock Brock Lesnar in. I mean, that seemed pretty effective the other night on Raw. He was turning fucking purple, right? So, you know, get behind him, lock him in a chokehold, just try to hope he stays down. Because, you know, if we get upright, he's taking me out, rock bottom, drop the elbow, and then he's probably going to lock me in that goddamn sharpshooter. And, you know, that's a problem. You don't want to get locked in that because there's no ropes in a real fight, so he's not going to break it. So I'm
all
walking.
Right, there. You're done, Gene. That was your 90 seconds. Oh, man, guys, that we went with the worst one first up. So, Gene, it's your turn to choose.
All downhill from here.
Fight or Fuck is not available next week or this week anymore. So we're taking that one off the board. Now, which one do we want?
Let's go NWO.
NWO. All right. So NWO. NWO stands for Nude World Order. It's a new stable in WWE. Name 3 people you would like to have in that group. Gene, do you take it or are you going to pass it?
Oh, I'll take that one.
All right.
The Nude World Order in the current WWE. Well, okay. Well, I guess we're going to say for the leader to take the old Hollywood Hogan spot, we're going to go Lana. I don't think there's anybody that's going to argue that one, that the leader of the New World Order would be Lana. I guess maybe I don't know, in the Kevin Nash position, for lack of a better word. Wow, who we want to go with there? I mean, there's some pretty good choices there. At one time, I would have thought we'd put Charlotte in there, but Jesus Christ, I saw those fucking pictures online, and bless her heart, she is not going in the Nude World Order. So maybe we bring Paige back for that. Maybe her neck could hold up for being in the Nude World Order with Lana. And then filling that third spot, again, you know, we got some pictures floating around out there. Some of them not so flattering. Now I know if this was BT doing this, BT would have picked at least 2 guys by now. Obviously, by the fact that he led Fight or Fuck with The Rock. Thanks, BT. But anyway,
no problem,
number 3 in the current roster of WWE. Let's see here. I guess. Jeez, I don't know. That's tough. I'm not a Bayley fan. A lot of people carry on about Bayley. I don't dig it. I don't see it. You know the.
Your time is up. Sorry about
Alexa.
that. All right. We go over there to Matthew. Matthew, you have a minute and 30 seconds. NWO Nude World Order is a new stable. Name 3 people you would like to have in that group. Current WWE roster. Start now.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say that this whole show's gone into the gutter, and I'm deeply ashamed to be here, but let's do this shit. Okay, well, I'm going to counter my friend Gene and say right away that I would choose Bayley all day long. In fact, if I could put all 3 spots as Bayley, I would, because there's something about having a nice, wholesome-looking girl with a really nice ass who you haven't seen nude before, seeing them nude. Isn't that what life is about, really? Getting that really wholesome girl and getting to see what's underneath and seeing what she's all about, how she's built. That's what I think the world's all about. Is, you see one pretty girl nude, you want to see them all, and there's one that we haven't seen nude yet, and that's Bailey. And I think that's where all three of my picks are going to go, is girls we haven't seen before. Because, there are a lot of picks floating out there. There's, Charlotte Page, all those guys we've seen before. So I'm going to go with people we haven't seen. So, first of all, Bailey, because personal choice. I'm one of those guys who's all about Bailey, sure. Next choice, I think, would be Becky Lynch. Because, again, I don't think I've ever seen nudes of Becky Lynch. And I'm curious if the carpet matches the drapes. She's got that, really crazy dye job all over, And, again, we're going for things that we haven't seen before, because variety is the spice of life. If you can't Google it on the internet, you're sure as hell going to turn into the TV every Monday night or Thursday night and watch that shit. Or, excuse me, SmackDown is still Thursday, right? I don't even know anymore. But, and for my third choice, I will agree with my good friend Gene, because we are good friends, and say Little Miss Bliss, because, God, she is gorgeous. And I want to see what she looks like. I don't know about
sorry.
You.
We're done with that one.
I'm so passionate about that, though.
Man, we have went to the gutter with the two best ones we could go. So, guys, it only gets better from here. So we can't choose NWO and we can't choose Fight or Fuck. So, and it is Matthew's turn, right?
Yeah, it should be my turn. Okay.
Right.
I'm going to go with what hopefully is in my wheelhouse, BT, and say Japanese commentary.
All right, Japanese commentary. Would you rather watch Japanese wrestling with English or Japanese commentary? And you got to explain why. So there we go, Matthew. Go.
Okay, I personally like to watch Japanese wrestling with Japanese commentary, because much like watching soccer in Spanish, there's just something rhythmic and fluid about the language you don't understand. You're not that lets you zone in and just really enjoy it. It becomes kind of like this rhythmic backdrop music to what you're watching, and it's always fun to catch those little bits of English in there, like when they say Zack Sabre Jr.'s name and they say Zack Sabre Jr. Or when they say Lariat and they say Larioto. It's always fun to catch those little bits of English, but mostly Japanese commentary over wrestling, it allows you to kind of zone in and really enjoy what's happening in the ring, because you're not distracted by, corny jokes or them putting over whatever product they're selling that week. It's just basically becomes a backdrop in an orchestra where you can just really let the match wash over you, and you get to enjoy the art of wrestling, which really is what it is. And no one really sells the emotion of wrestling better than Japanese commentators. When they hit a big spot and say Omega Okada, the commentators, are go off like they're having a heart attack. I mean, they think it's the most important thing in the world they've ever seen. It's like Japanese commentary is filled with nothing but Jim Rosses everywhere, and there's not a Michael Cole to be found. It's just the best and most emotional commentary you can possibly hear. And who cares if it's in English, because emotion is universal. And so often what's missing out of American wrestling commentary is good old-fashioned emotion. It's like so much about American wrestling has become ironic and detached and removed. And in Japanese wrestling, they still take it so seriously.
All right. You're done, Matthew. Your time is up, and we're going to go to Gene Jackson. Gene, would you rather watch Japanese wrestling with English or Japanese commentary? And I want you to tell us why. You go.
All right, so here's where I turn heel. I almost passed on this one. I guess I'll watch it with Japanese commentary, because I'm not a big fan of Japanese wrestling, and I know a lot of the people that are listening to this are big fans of Japanese wrestling, and I don't mean to offend you, but they might as well be talking Japanese, because who gives a shit? Because the American people can't keep up with it, because it's just spot after spot after spot after spot. I tried to watch it when it was on Access with Mauro Ranallo, and I'm sorry, I know a lot of the fanboys cream over Mauro Ranallo or whatever the fuck his name is, but I don't give a shit about him one bit. I wasn't excited to hear he's coming back on NXT. It's the reason I may not watch NXT as much as I even was. If I'm going to have to watch it, I might as well watch it with Japanese commentators, because if not, you could just as well put Byron Saxton and Mark Madden commentating on there, and I would give about as much of a fuck. I'm not knocking it just all the way around, but I've tried really hard to watch Japanese wrestling, get into it, and I just can't do it. I know. I mean, I guess I'm one of these old fuckers now. I'm not Jim Cornette. I'm not shooting everybody down that watches it. If you like it, enjoy it, love it. I'm not going to knock you for it. I'm not going to knock you. I don't know. I can't get into it, and I'm no more into it when there's English commentary than I am when there's Japanese. So at least, as Matt pointed out, to his point, at least you can tell they're emotional and they're into it. And,
there we go, Gene. Gene is done on that one. We just eliminated 3 categories: Japanese wrestling, fighter fuck, and NWO. And now after 3 rounds, we're going to take a quick commercial, and we'll be right back.
Illustrated magazines, you are missing out on plenty of action and excitement from the entire wrestling world. Each month, Pro Wrestling Illustrated brings you 73 power-packed pages of match coverage, interviews, special features, exclusive ratings, and the famous Pro Wrestling Illustrated full-color centerfold. During this LPWA Boutique special offer, receive a full year of Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine 12 big issues for the low price of just $19.95. That's 30% off the newsstand price. You'll enjoy year-round news of the LPWA along with all the latest from pro wrestling around the world. And now you can get 12 big issues for just $19.95. Here's how to order. To take advantage of this limited special offer, send $19.95 in check or money order to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Department L, Post Office Box 48, Rockville Center, New York, 11570. That's $19.95 to Pro Wrestling Illustrated, Department L, Rockville Center, New York, 11570.
All right, we're back for the 4th round, and Gene gets to pick the category. We have Great Balls of Fire left. We have You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. 3 matches, 3 wrestlers, John Paul, Ringo, and George, and Allocades. So, Gene, what are we going to get?
First of all, I want to say I hope that commercial was in Japanese. I didn't hear it.
It was. I actually did it. No, go ahead.
3 wrestlers, God forbid.
3 wrestlers. All right, here we go, Gene Jackson. 3 wrestlers. Name 3 wrestlers that you've met and that were assholes.
Oh, shit. This sucks because me and you have talked, and I've told you there's not been that many. Okay, one wrestler that I have talked about on this very program that me and my wife met, who was a raging asshole when we met him, and apparently he's not to other people, AJ Styles. AJ Styles was a prick when we met him. I don't know if he was just having a bad day or he wasn't happy because this is his first night back in Ring of Honor after he had left TNA. But he was a complete douchebag when we met him at the Ring of Honor show in Nashville, and Rosie hated his guts up until just recently, and now she mildly tolerates him. Other people I've met that's been an asshole, well, the Honky Tonk Man is a bit of a shithead when you meet him, but it's expected, and it's kind of like you'd be disappointed if he wasn't an asshole. He's the goddamn Honky Tonk Man if he's made a career out of that for 30 years, so if he was hugging everybody and kissing babies, you'd be disappointed. So, I didn't hold a grudge for that. God bless, we've met so damn many going to all these fan fests and everything. Well, okay, the obvious pick, who was an asshole every single time I was ever around him, and I got to be around him a bunch, Ole Anderson. Ole Anderson is the crankiest bastard on earth. I like to go down at the fan fest, be it in Charlotte or Atlanta, and just go sit in the lobby because they would just park him in the lobby in his wheelchair and just leave him out there, and he would just sit in the lobby and just bitch about old-time wrestling, new wrestling.
All right, Gene, you're done there, and here we go, Matthew. 3 wrestlers. Name 3 wrestlers that you met and that were assholes. Now, start.
Okay, BT, I was racking my brain as Gene was talking, and I've met a bunch of wrestlers, but mostly on the independent scene. Guys who later went to WWE, so they weren't big stars yet. I've met guys like Cesaro and guys like that who later became big, but weren't big at the time. So I had to really rack my brain to see who was an asshole, and I can really only come up with one person who was really an asshole, and it's not going to be surprising when I say it, and that's a garbage wrestler, deathmatch wrestler, Ian Rotten. I'm sure everyone who's ever gone to an indie show in this general Mid-South area has got an Ian Rotten story. I've got one too. I met Ian Rotten at an IWA Deep South show. He was very nice to me when I first met him. We talked for a minute. I told him I liked his match. And he later cut a promo later on in the show that went on way too long, like Ian Rotten does. I wrote a review for a random forum about the show, and I said, well, Ian talked a lot like Ian does. And I saw Ian at the next show, and the first thing he said to me was he got in my face like he wanted to fight me. And, you've seen me. I'm not a guy who can really get in a fight. And he said, I saw the shit you talked about me on the internet. And literally the only thing I said about him was Ian talks like Ian likes to do. And he literally put his finger in my chest and acted like he was going to fight me. And I had to immediately back up and say, hey, man, I'm not a fighter. I'm not rough and tumble at all. I don't, I didn't. It was just a review. I didn't mean anything by it.
I'm sorry there, Matthew. We may just have to have you on the show sometime just to talk about Ian Rotten, the great Ian Rotten. So we get Matthew gets
Ian Rotten.
Oh my God! I can just see Ian Rotten putting his finger in your chest. That's cracking me up. All right, here we go.
I didn't think I could have any less respect for him.
We have.
And G knows why that's bad. Yeah,
that is. It's horrible. So, Matthew gets to choose the last category here, and we have left John, Paul, Ringo, and George, Alcades, Great Balls of Fire. Or FAR, as they call it here in the South. 3 matches, and you ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Okay, BT. Well, I got to choose this because I got to comment on this. This is the worst pay-per-view name I can think of in my life. It's the worst one I can remember, and say I'm going to choose Great Balls of Fire.
All right, Great Balls of Fire. Okay. You name the pay-per-view. You tell us what the name is going to be, change it, and tell us why. Go.
Well, let's see. If we're going to go funny, we can call it, the Fat Man versus the Giant Baby. Because, let's face it, Samoa Joe is fat, and Brock Lesnar does look like a giant baby. If we were going to go serious, we could say, let's see, the Irresistible Force meets the Immovable Object, because that's how they book those two guys. Finally, WWF has realized that if you put two guys together and book them as, badasses, people will want to see it. So, there's all kinds of things you could say about that. Like you could say, the first encounter, because wouldn't we want to see more matches between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar? There's so many things you could call it that are better than Great Balls of Fire. What the fuck does that even really mean? I'm not watching the product currently, but is there a storyline reason for that? I don't know. But, you could really call it anything. You could call it, hey, isn't Brock Lesnar great? And it would be a better title than Great Balls of Fire. You could call it Good Golly Miss Molly, it's WWF, and it'd be a better title than Great Balls of Fire. What kind of fucking title is that? You could call it Ain't Nothing But Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar, and that would be a better title than Great Balls of Fire. You could call it Paul Heyman Looks Like a Hound Dog, and that'd be a better title than Great Balls of Fire. And I could just go on and on. Like, who came up with that title? I hope that guy got thrown out on his ass out of Titan Towers the day he came up with that, and they had already printed the poster so they couldn't go back on it. But seriously, what does that even fucking mean? Great Balls of Fire, are they going to roast Shambo each other in the main event, just kick each other in the nuts over and over again until one of them drops? What does that fucking mean?
All right, here we go. That buzzer keeps going off. Okay, Gene Jackson, we are 90 seconds away from ending the second episode of Who Wants to Be the Best Shizniter Ever. So, folks, I want you to know Gene's going in here. He's a challenger. So when you vote, did Matthew do better or did Gene do better? And Gene's going to end it tonight. Great Balls of Fire. You change the name of the pay-per-view and tell us why or how or what are we going to do? Start.
Oh, Great Balls of Fire. It's funny because every time you hear them say it, every week people are having a hard time saying it with a straight face. Honestly, you might as well call it, let's face it, Bray's going to lose again. would be a good name for a pay-per-view, because anytime there's a pay-per-view, Bray Wyatt's not going to fucking win, least of all if he's wrestling Seth Rollins. So that would be an obvious name for it. Of course, it could be I'm Not Finished With You Yet, the ongoing saga of Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. The ambulance match, I guess that's going to be interesting. Of course, as most of Matt's examples was, you can base it around the Brock Lesnar Samoa Joe match, where it's sorry Joe, we're still trying to repair the Goldberg damage, but that's kind of a long name, so I don't guess you could really go with that. I don't know. Why don't you bring back something from the past? Well, the Great American Bash. We could use that, since we're just throwing shit out there. The Great Balls of Fire. When I first heard that, I thought that just had to be a joke. And Matt hasn't been watching the product. He said he didn't know if there's a storyline. There is no storyline. There is no reason on earth whatsoever why they would fucking call this pay-per-view Great Balls of Fire. But regardless of what they call it, Jinder Mahal isn't the fucking champion, so I'm pretty excited about that. Randy Orton's not on the show, so I'm pretty excited about that. We all know how Matt feels about Randy Orton after the last episode. So, at the end of the day,
all right, Gene,
fuck it. Let's just call it Great Balls of Fire.
There. Sorry about the interruption there. We can only give you 90 seconds, and I couldn't get my buzzer to work. And you guys don't say anything about getting your buzzer to work, because that could have been something. We started out with the shit categories, and we went uphill. Hey, there's Gene with his last 90 seconds there. Folks, you either vote for Matthew or you vote for Gene. stspod.club. Go there, vote. You have 10 days to vote. But you know what? We're going to do something a little different. We changed some rules a little bit. So we're going to end the show. I'm going to give each guy 90 seconds to plead their case and why they were the best Shizniter ever. Go, Gene.
I can't say for sure if I'm the best Shizniter ever, because Matt's pretty awesome. But, ever since I was a little boy, I've only had one dream, and that was to be the best Shizniter ever. And I promise you, if you folks vote for me and give me a chance to win this title and defend it, I will do my damnedest to be the very best Shizniter ever. I've got my trainer here, Jose Lothario, was sitting next to me tonight. He was cheering me on. He was leading me in the right direction. He was, well, we won't say I was cheating or anything, but he did have some notes over there for some of these. So just please, please give your old buddy Gene a chance. It's always been my dream to be the best Shizniter ever, and you can make that happen. Thank you. God bless you. Good night. Vote for Gene.
All right, Matthew. He didn't use his own all of his 90 seconds, but I tell you what, I'm going to give you a minute just like he did. Tell the folks why you should stay champion Shizniter.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to say that I greatly respect Gene. He's an old friend of mine, and I'm very similar in a way. When I was a child growing up watching wrestling, I didn't dream about being the best Shizniter. I just knew I hated certain things about wrestling, and that hate has grown up in me as I've gotten older and I've gotten more opinionated and more bitter, and I like to think more clever in my old age, and I'm so ready to talk Shiznit about wrestling in general. Whether it's Japanese wrestling, indie wrestling, Lucha Libre, WWE, WWF, Global Force Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, Owl, Championship Wrestling, whatever that fucking thing's called, I like talking Shiznit about it. So if I win, if I get to finally get my belt like I deserve, I promise, brother, to take it up the highways and byways and make it the people's belt, so that everyone who wants to talk shit throughout this fine land of ours can have a champion in me. Because if I win, it's not a win for someone who's in the business like my good friend Gene, who is in the business. It's for the regular fans who get fed up with what's happening to the industry.
We don't want to give you no more time than we give Gene. So, guys, thank you again for joining us. Folks, thanks for listening. We do appreciate it. We know there's a few million wrestling podcasts out there, and I appreciate you listening to my little Wrestling Riot network that we've come up with. Join us in 2 weeks where we have the champion against the challenger again. And join us this coming Tuesday. That's right. This coming Tuesday, we will have the July 4th special. July 4th special is going to be bloopers. I don't have an official name for it yet, but it's going to be some bloopers and some outtakes. Maybe some stuff from this show, maybe some stuff from a bunch of shows. So it's going to be 30 minutes of bloopers. And also, please, as of I'm speaking here, I'm just a hair away from breaking the record, last month's big, huge record. We're just a hair away from actually breaking the record. So, and when you get done listening to this, just go listen to another one you haven't listened to. All right? We'll see you next week. Same bat time and same bat channel.
Right now at Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory, save 50 to 70% off everything in stores and online. That's right, 50 to 70% off everything. Celebrate the 4th with dresses from $19.99 at Banana Republic Factory. And at Gap Factory stores, tees start at $4.99. Plus, save an extra 40% off clearance. Sale ends Tuesday. Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store or shop us online. Right now at Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory, save 50 to 70% off everything in stores and online. That's right, 50 to 70% off everything. Celebrate the 4th with dresses from $19.99 at Banana Republic Factory. And at Gap Factory stores, tees start at $4.99. Plus, save an extra 40% off clearance. Sale ends Tuesday. Search our store locator for your nearest Gap Factory and Banana Republic Factory store or